Hi friends, welcome to the Anime Book Club podcast. I'm your host, DJ Montague.
And I'm your host, Greg. And here we review anime from classics to brand new stuff, hidden gems, and controversial favorites.
You'll hear all of our hot takes, rants,
and genius observations. So thanks for tuning in, and buckle up because the episode starts now.
By the way, friends, these episodes contain spoilers, so be careful and don't ruin this anime for yourself. You've been warned. I saw that deep sigh you had there, Greg.
Like whenever I had to do like presentations and stuff for like work, that's what I would normally do. Before the presentation, if I was in the room, I'd just like leave the room and be like, hey, I'll be right back or whatever.
And then just go like fucking pep to yourself up in the corner and just deep sigh.
I would literally just like stand in the hallway and deep breath myself.
Trying to get high on oxygen so you can go back in the room and talk for 5 minutes. In my early days in history class, a friend of mine and I wrote a paper about a militia, and we had not heard the word spoken in real life. We said militia the whole time. And like phalanx was like, obviously you could pronounce that out, but because you can go phalanx or phalanx, right? Or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, militia for like 10 fucking minutes straight every time we were going to say militia.
And the teacher didn't stop you or anything?
No.
They were just...
She did. At the beginning, she said militia, and I looked and I said, huh? And then she's like, never mind, just keep going. And I was like, oh. And then we just did it. We did the whole thing. I think about that to this day. The fucking embarrassment of militia.
It's a cornerstone of your existence and what
it really
you
is.
are today.
Yeah.
Back then, video games where there weren't voice actors and you actually had to read. Like Final Fantasy, US Final Fantasy 3, Japanese 6, I think it is, when you had Go-Go, I think. And then he used mimicry and would copy you. I didn't know how to say mimicry.
Ooh, what did you say it as, Greg? Mimi cry?
Yeah, that's exactly what I said.
I love that for us.
But then, like you don't know. You
Yeah.
understand what it means, but it's just like, well, I've been pronouncing that wrong my entire life.
Someone says it in real life, and you're like, oh.
Usually it clicks. Like they'll say it, and I'll be like, damn, I said that wrong. Like for fucking 20 years. All right.
Yeah.
And then I won't admit to it. I'll just like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yep,
Yeah. I've heard of a mimicry.
Yeah.
Let us begin the show, Greg.
Anyway, we are the Anime Book Club podcast. My name is Greg, holding my half-naked teacher's backpack, face full of, I think it's called hyaluronic acid and battery at 0.2% and rapidly falling big smart large Jesus. And I am joined with my friend, the man who grabbed my foot as I was sucked into a portal, and also the man who struggled to remember that he ate boiled tofu the day before yesterday. This is where you say your name.
I was going to say, dude who collected all tackle memorabilia and man who has 92-year-old hands, DJ Montague. Hello. Greetings. Welcome, everybody, to the Anime Book Club podcast.
And today we are going to talk about episode 2 of Tojima Wants to Be a Kamen Rider, touring after the apocalypse. Sanda in episode 14 of Gachiakuta.
I don't know if Greg's going to keep this in the episode at the beginning of us talking about nonsense of how to say words.
I think I have to because I purposely said Gachiakuta wrong because we talked about...
I say Gachiakuta, right? And I know that that's not right. It's Gachia... Wait, what is it, Greg? Because now I'm nervous.
If I'm reading this with my preschool level Japanese... You can correct me because you are the subject matter expert of all things Japanese. Gachiakuta. Yeah, Gachiakuta.
Yeah, I've heard people
to me, that's how you say it.
It's Gachiakuta.
I suppose you could say it that way.
But if I said Gachiakuta in Japan, would people be like, yeah, you're fucking stupid?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Greg, what's the vibes like? All of the anime you're watching, all 23 seasons of TV. How you feeling?
Yeah, in general, everything's good. There's some that I didn't like.
What's your most hated anime right now?
It's a tie between May I Ask for One Final Thing and my status as an assassin obviously exceeds the heroes.
What's your favorite right now? Is it 100%?
Kamen Rider. 100. That is my favorite. Like, spoiler alert, for me, that it might actually get a 10.
Yeah? It's insane. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm really enjoying Gachiakuta.
Yeah, it's okay.
What do you mean okay?
Yeah,
it's fine.
It's fine.
It's okay. Whatever. It's Dan-to-danning for me. Okay.
Oh, I don't know if it's going that far.
No. I don't mean like it's like even with Dan-to-Dan, but it's doing Dan-to-Dan things.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't go that far.
Okay, fine, Greg. I like it a lot, so...
I didn't say it was bad. Even if I did say it was bad, that doesn't mean you can't like it.
Yeah, but we, as a podcast, need to have the exact same opinion about every single show.
Oh, that's why we watch Chain Soldier back-to-back constantly.
Yeah. Wait, when does Season 2 start? January 8th.
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay. All right. Let's quit with the degeneracy. Greg, do you want to go right into it? Do you have stuff that you did this week? What's been going on?
No, I didn't do anything. I watched anime and...
Greg was plugged into a wall until this show started again.
That's my life.
Okay.
Would you like to share with the class?
I didn't really do much of a lot, I guess. I was working a lot this weekend, and we had some people get kicked out of the bar. I mean, DJ stuff, you know how it is.
Oh, did they use their vital instruments and you had to kick them out?
If their vital instrument was a bottle of tequila on the dance floor, yeah. They didn't use it. They drank out of it, and we were like, hey, what are you doing?
I mean, everyone's vital instrument
is different.
It's different. No judgment zone here.
All right. But, spoiler-free version, Greg, Tojima wants to be a Kamen Rider. Episode 2.
Have you ever had a crush on a teacher?
Yes. In fact, my history teacher that corrected me on militia, I had a crush on her.
Because she corrected you?
No, just a super nice person and all-around great human being. But yeah, I had a crush on a teacher.
I don't think I did.
Also, our math teacher was crazy hot.
I always thought it was kind of weird. I remember there were, like, all the football kids. I think they all gravitated. I think it was math. I can't remember. I just remember that in our school, we had like a basement, and that's where this class was held. It was like a fucking dungeon. And then all of the football players would be down there talking up the teacher before class started. And I would always walk in and be like, well, that's fucking weird.
That is fucking weird. Was your math teacher hot? Statistically, Greg?
I think for our teachers, yeah, she was teacher hot.
Greg, you can be an attractive person in a field. You don't have to be a hot teacher. You could just be a hot person.
Yes. What you say is true.
Yeah, what I said is factually correct.
Like, having worked in IT for the majority of my life, there was always that idea of, like, IT hot, where there was, like, a girl that worked in IT, but it was held to a different standard because she was in the field. So, like, if we want to use the archaic 1 through 10 scale as reference here, you could be like, okay, she's like a 5, but then in IT, she's like an 8. Okay. Because there were no girls in IT.
Real quick.
So the fact that you were a girl automatically made you a hot.
The disappointment in my face is immeasurable.
I'm just telling you how things worked. I'm not telling you it's right. I'm not saying we should all hold on to this idea. I'm just saying that this is just what happened.
In Greg and I live in Reno still. Greg used to live in Reno. There used to be a joke of your hotness. Like you were an LA 10, but in Reno you're like a 25.
Yeah. Same concept. Yeah.
Okay. I remember, and this quick sidebar, Greg knows who this person is. Back in the day, I was learning fighting games from a few different people in the Reno scene, and we were all leaving the Atlantis arcade at one point in time. I remember the first time dealing with my own mortality in my brain, okay? I saw a person, and I, in the most shallow sense, I said, I would hate to be that ugly. And he said, I don't look at people like that. And I was like, oh, I'm a piece of shit. I'm an awful human being. From that day forward, I was like, I need to really look internally and come to grips with who I am and what I judge people based on, their looks and all of that stuff. I understand we're human beings and we very often quickly judge a book by its cover because of survival instincts and stuff like that. But attraction is also one of them. That changed me for years. I mean, obviously I still think that way, but it was sorry, I should fucking rephrase that. I still think in a healthy direction is what I mean. But yeah, I think that people are a lot more beautiful on the inside, and I felt so fucking bad. So anyways, teacher hot and other person hot. Like, Greg, did you find them attractive? Yes. Okay, done. End of story.
Well, I mean, as like a, I don't know, 15, 16-year-old boy, like I think almost like any one of the opposite sex was like attractive.
Okay, that makes sense.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that checks out. Yeah.
Like the mystery, the idea of, you don't know anything.
Right. I agree with that. I wholeheartedly agree with that.
This all had a point, by the way.
Did it have a point?
It did have a point, because with Tojima Wants to Be a Kamen Rider, episode 2, we start at a school with a clock showing 11:30 a.m. and the teacher is reciting poetry, and it zooms in on a kid blushing as she walks through class, and then he peeps at that butt. She calls on Asano, which is the kid peeping her, to read the next entry, but he was enthralled by her, but then reads the entry, and it's about feelings and shit, and he applies it to her, and he's like, I harbor feelings for you, even though you're a teacher. And she's like, cool. But you could just use the interpretation of another man's wife, and all the kids laugh at him. Cuts to Asano at home, and he's rolling around on his bed with his body pillow, and he's like, man, I love my teacher, Yuriko, and I wonder what she does for hobbies. And he dreams about her playing the piano, enjoying fine art, sipping on some afternoon tea. But then it cuts to her bench pressing 185 pounds and grunting and getting mad about Tojima beating up Shocker in just a mask. It flashes back to young Yuriko telling her dad kids picked on her, and he's like, and you came back without doing anything? She said, but they were boys. And then he's like, well, I know just the thing. And he throws on Kamen Rider Stronger. And she's like, what the hell is this? And he's like, shut up and just keep watching. In the show, it shows Misaki Yuriko talking to Kamen Rider, wanting to fight with him. But he says it's impossible because she's a woman. But then she walks behind a pillar and transforms into electro-wave human Tak. And Yuriko's dad says she was the first warrior woman in Kamen Rider, and Yuriko fell in love with Tackle. Yuriko practices her transformation pose and says she's Tackle, but her dad is like, close. But she doesn't say the full Tackle. She just says Tak. Just like Kamen Rider V3 announces himself as V3, yeah! That's how he does it in the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you nailed it. That was 100%.
I'm actually V3.
I know. I've seen you transform, Greg.
Later that night, young Yuriko is practicing her electro wave throw on a stuffed animal and knocks over some VHSs and sees one for Kamen Rider Stronger episode 30. And she's like, oh, I haven't seen that one. So she pops it in, and it's titled Goodbye Tackle, Her Final Battle. And Tackle sacrifices herself to kill a monster, and young Yuriko is mortified.
Dude, that poor girl has such PTSD from watching Tackle die. The horror in this child's face, I didn't know you could have that much snot liquid and tears and like drool come out of your face at all at the same time.
I love how they do crying and blood in this anime. It's just ultra exaggerated.
Oh, it's so ridiculous.
Way too much for what's going on. And it continues. So it's a reoccurring theme. Mm-hmm. Her dad gets home from work, and Yuriko is laying in a pool of her own tears as she asks her dad why Tackle had to die and why didn't Stronger save her. Her dad is like, it's not like that. Ultra Cyclone is a move that gives up her life to defeat an enemy, and that's how strong the bad guy was. So she had no choice. Young Yuriko is like, oh, she did it to save Stronger? And he's like, yep, you got it. She's the best heroine ever. And that's why I named you after her.
I also have a question here, because this relates to, like, Samurai Champloo. There are so many moves that blow up the user to defeat the enemy in anime. Is that kind of weird, right?
As a story element and, like, a vessel to move a character out of a series for whatever reason, like either the actor quit or something and they had to, like, write him out of the story somehow. I think it makes sense to have, like, a noble sacrifice, keep the character's morals and ethics alive, even though that character is gone.
And still able to defeat the enemy at the same time. That's what's weird to me about it. Is, like, you're choosing to show that the character is powerful enough to win only by sacrificing themselves, but the other characters couldn't stack up. So, like, in like something like Samurai Champloo, like, Mugen is the main dude. I forget the secondary dude's name. But he, spoiler alert, it's been 20 years. He gets in a fight with a samurai at the end and stabs himself through the stomach to stab the guy behind him. And you think he's going to die, but I won't spoil that for you, whether he does or not. But it's the same sense of mutual destruction. And it's always weird to me. It's like holding a grenade. Like, you're just the grenade. And you're like, all right, we're both going, fuckface. Like, that, it always weirds me out.
I guess to me it makes sense. I mean, number one, I don't know how you practice a move like that because,
yeah, right?
You know, you only can use it once.
Right.
I don't know how you learned it. Number two, how you practice it to where you can pull it off in a real combat situation. That part's kind of weird. The stabbing through the stomach or holding the grenade thing makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah.
I guess you just wake up one day and unlock a self-destruct ability and you're like, well, I guess I'll just keep this in my back pocket.
Oh, yeah, I'll remember this one. And then, yeah, that's a tough move to learn. I don't want to learn that move when I become isekai'd.
I hope that's my only move, actually.
Oh, Greg uses it on the first mob. He's like, well, I've met my first trial and tribulation. Time to go.
Yeah, it's just like, oh man, level 1 slime, self-destruct. But God. The next day, Yuriko's father says, Tackle isn't dead. And he dresses her up as Tackle in a costume and is like, she's right in front of me. And she's like, from now on, I'm going to be Tackle. Cuts back to present day, super serious Yuriko, and she says, ever since then, she's been marching down her Tackle road. And she's currently 24 years old, still following the path as she works as a teacher, as she's writing shit about Tojima and her being Tackle on the blackboard. And all the kids are like, what poem is that from?
That's a fucking weird one, lady. But hey, we're here to learn.
It cuts to the gangsters and they're going to hit 5 convenience stores. And the 3 lackeys are like, damn, again? We're going to get caught. But the boss dude is like, well, today I'm going with you guys. The boys are like, we can handle it. And he says, he's a fighter. And there ain't much need for his kind these days. And best he can do is drag them around as they act like kids. And then he mumbles, he would have preferred looking like a monster, like the spider. Cuts to Asano, and he meets up with Yuriko, and he confesses his love to her. And he's like, I had to blurt it out before I got too nervous.
Dude, it's the weird. This is the weirdest scene in anime history.
Damn, I'm being confessed to by one of my students. Oh, shit. But the robbers are robbing, and the police are in pursuit, and they pass Asano, confessing to Yuriko. And Yuriko sees the shocker robbers, and the boss gangster ultra punches the fucking police officers.
Dude, that shit was
Asano
so dope.
Is still confessing to her.
I couldn't contain my excitement for the beginning of the punching of this episode. I mean, this show is ridiculous.
I just like how the kid is like, I love you. And she's like, and then those sound effects. It's like, wow. And
it goes back. It goes between the two musical pieces. Like, these guys are over there just like fucking beating the shit out of cops. And then he's like, I love you. And she's like, oh, okay, I have to handle this. And then it goes like, she looks over at them and it's just like fucking metal. It's so ridiculous.
The sound effects, I find them very comedic. Like,
yes, 100%.
It's just like everything else in the show. Like hyper exaggerated, like the crying and the punching and the blood and the sounds too, where like we're gonna see here in a second when she transforms into Tackle, the sound it makes when she goes to change her clothes and stuff. Like, it's so ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous.
I can't contain myself. I laugh every single time.
It's
and it
so
continues through the series too.
Yeah.
So
it's Silly Billy Goats, the show.
but Yuriko is like, my prey is getting away. And then she runs after them. Cuts to Tojima walking, looking at the article of him at the festival. And the Shocker guys are robbing the convenience store right next to him. And he's like, holy shit. And Tojima is like, hey, it's me. The gangsters turn and they're like, do we know you? And he's like, oh shit. And then he takes out his Kamen Rider mask and he transforms, but he had to make the sound effects too. So he goes to get his mask, out of his backpack, he puts it on and he's like, and he transforms and starts crying again. And the gangsters are like, dude, what's with this fucking dude and crying all the time?
I just want to say, if I were to have this situation, if I was the gangster, I'd be like, oh, that's the guy that fucked us up last time. He's doing the weird transform. And you're like, I need to go now before I lose teeth again. So I should go.
Just then, Yuriko shows up with Asano in tow. And she sees Tojima and is like, hey, it's the fucking fake ass Kamen Rider dude. And she's like, not on my watch. And then she blasts her chest out of her shirt. Dude. And changes her clothes into Tackle, and Asano is having the best day of his life.
I didn't want to take a picture of the screenshot, but her face made me laugh so fucking hard.
Are you gonna make the sound effect?
No, I can't.
Oh,
I can't do it. I had to go. And so we go to the next screenshot. We had to go into the hot tubs portion of the stream for a second there.
She's like, do you still like me after seeing me change into this? And all the bystanders are like, yeah, dude, do you fucking like her or what? And then Tojima is ready to attack. But then Tackle punches him in the face. And all the gangsters are like, what the fuck is happening? And Yuriko is like, I'm fucking Tackle. She isn't fucking dead. One of the gangsters is like, oh, let me get some of those chesticles. And then she judo throws him through the other gangsters as Asano watches on. And then she puts her finger over his lips and is like, shh. This is our secret, as literally everyone else has been taking pictures and posting to social media. And then she runs off.
Insane behavior.
The gangsters get up and they're like, man, what the fuck? And the boss tells Tojima that this isn't over. And he's like, hey, man, she punched me too. And then the boss says that he always liked Shocker better and then walks off. Tojima takes his mask off and watches Yuriko run away. And he's like, she might like Tackle just as much as I love Kamen Rider, or maybe even more. Cuts to school at 8:50 a.m. and Yuriko is looking at her phone and she sees an article about her Tackle. And she's like, fuck yeah. And the other teachers are like, what's wrong? And she's like, oh, no, it's nothing.
I'm just having the best day ever.
After credits roll, it cuts to the gangsters hanging out. And they're all calling their moms and stuff. But the boss has a monster mask. And he's like, I bought this monster mask. And shockered it up a little bit and says when he wears it, he is now the monster Yakuza-man. The other gangsters are like, yeah, man, sounds good. And he says, if there's a Kamen Rider and a Tackle, there can be a monster like Yakuza-man. And he says they're getting back to work tomorrow night, doing more Shocker robberies. Cuts to a convenience store where there is a live streamer. But then the gangsters walk in and start the robbery.
It's crazy, the likeness that he shares with us.
Yeah, that's exactly... I thought I was looking in a mirror, to be honest.
Yeah, 100%. He's like, I'm going to eat this whole shelf. And I was like, I do that all the time.
And the live streamer catches it all, and he's like, I'm going to get so many views. And one of the gangsters is like, hey, dude, you're buying way too many snacks. You're going to get fat. And the streamer's like, hey, I'm already fat. Hey, I'm a fat guy. It cuts to Tojima watching the stream, and he's like, Shocker robbery, and he's running towards it. But Yuriko is also watching it, running towards it. And they're like, wait a minute, where have I seen you before? It cuts back to the robbers, and someone stops the boss and is like, hey, man, you got to stop these Shocker robbery things. And they're like, fuck you, man. But then he yeets and turns into a real Shocker. And he's like, listen to the real thing, boys. And that's how episode 2 ends.
Yeah. As the wind blows, cast your eyes on Shocker. That guy was fucking shredded, too. Like, when he just is like, yeah, step aside. I'm about to show you what the realness is. And I assume, where did he get his outfit from? Yuriko basically gets naked outside in front of a crowd to change into Tackle. And he's just like, I've had this on me the whole time.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's the life of a Shocker.
Yeah. I didn't know. I was unaware. I was blissfully unaware. But now I know. Great episode. This show rules.
Am I doing it justice? Are my notes?
No, they're fucking
it?
spot on.
Okay.
Like, it's one of those things like when you're explaining a story to someone that you experienced, it's like, dude, you had to be there. You know what I mean? This show is so good. You should watch it. I think you do a great job of doing it justice, but it's one of those things like I feel like we all have a hard time explaining anything awesome happening in front of our eyes.
Yeah, whenever I yell V3 and I kind of feel weird.
It's perfect,
on
Greg.
stream, but
You're perfect. You're doing wonderful.
Okay.
And I appreciate all that you do for the show. The painstaking effort you go through to make everyone feel like they're a part of it. You're doing God's work, Greg. 100% thumbs up. Onward. Greg, spoiler-free version. How are you feeling about touring after the apocalypse?
I feel like they tried to pull out the heartstrings too early.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't get the same feeling. Also, because the characters in this show, we don't really know them all that well, and we're getting like weird little bits of information. It's not as easily identifiable and like instantly like you're in the shoes of these characters watching all of these things happen. I don't really have that attachment to Japan like these characters do, and probably these voice actors, so it feels a little lost on me. But I do think that it is cute for the most part, and then the seriousness of the episode is a little sad. I was like, oh wow, that is a little heartstring. I appreciate that.
I just feel like it was too soon, because if we take what I consider the direct comparison to this, which is Apocalypse Hotel, we had everyone at the hotel, we had the Tanukians, and then we had other characters visit the hotel.
Yep.
But it wasn't until like episode 8 or 9 that we experienced our first loss of life. And I feel like that was super impactful in Apocalypse Hotel. Okay. And that's because, I mean, we basically had 6-7 episodes to learn about these characters before one of them actually died, and they had the full wedding funeral send-off.
Yeah, that was a beautiful episode. There was a lot to that episode. I think this wasn't supposed to be like... I think this was just like, hey, we're traveling through the world. These are remnants, and that I think that this show is going to continue. A good example is... I think, what was it, World War Z, where it's a bunch of short stories, and they're like one-shots of what's happening in the war, rather than it being us following these characters. Like, we'll have these two characters, and we'll have their experiences and their main storyline, but the other ones are just kind of there, and their stories are wrapped up very quickly.
I wonder if this is going to be like the theme where they start ramping up the loss. Because if we remember from episode 1, there was technically like a loss. The tank, they almost considered the tank a person. And then when she went in there to cut the wires or whatever, it'll set the tank at rest. And then they left the flowers for the tank. Obviously, we're just kind of like, oh, yeah, it's a fucking machine. Nobody cares. But now, episode 2, we're going to see it's like they took it up like a little bit of a notch of like, it's still a machine, but is it?
That's the thing. You are shown that he is... The character brings the top half of an animatronic thing over, and it's like, oh, I found a person. And you're like, that's not a person, that's a machine. And then you get the information of like, oh, this was a person that was completely transferred consciousness into, you know, I didn't, story was supposed to be spoiled.
Yeah,
let's
get into it.
Let's get into it. Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. Touring after the apocalypse, episode 2. We have a flashback, I assume, to the past, and Yoko and Ivy are in a bunker, and they look at more photos of places on Yoko's smartphone, and it shows the Hokkaido Milk Road and the Tower of the Sun in Osaka and the Himeji Castle. I've been to the Tower of the Sun. My last Japan trip, I was in Osaka and I saw that. So when I saw the picture of it, I was like, damn, they really threw some references in there.
That's sick.
I felt something tingle in my chest.
As our foremost authority on Japan of this show, I've never been to Japan, so I have no ties.
Yeah, I don't know. Like the tingle in my chest, it could have just been a stroke or the onset of a stroke, but who knows?
Yeah. I mean, who knows? Probably your doctor if you ever saw one, but didn't see one.
Yoko's sister shows up on a screen and she's like, "You love the outdoors, don't you?" And she's like, "Hell yeah." And she says that when she goes outside, she's going to do what she did and travel Japan on a motorcycle. Yoko's sister says it's dangerous outside right now and they won't be able to leave the bunker. And then they start like a remote class for the girls. And Yoko is like, "Man, I want to go out sometime." So we get a little bit of backstory here where Yoko and Irie were just literally in a bunker, not allowed to go outside.
It was Fallout.
Yeah, basically. They were in a vault. And we now know that they are outside of the bunker. So something must have happened to the bunker where the girls had to leave and now they are on the outside.
Well, I don't know if it was like a have to leave situation because it seems like these bunkers are supposed to be self-sustaining for hundreds of years, you'd imagine, because we see the overgrowth and stuff. But they could have left of their own volition of her being like, "I have to get out." You know, like, what was it, Cloverfield Lane, where John Goodman, or was it, yeah, John Goodman has to try and get the survivors into his homemade bunker because shit's going crazy?
Okay. Yeah.
Did you watch Cloverfield Lane?
Sounds familiar.
Did you watch Cloverfield?
Sounds familiar.
Greg, all right, let's go.
Cuts back to the present, and the girls are at the sea now, and Yoko yells out like she did to the mountains last episode, and Irie is like, "You only yell in the mountains." And Yoko is like, "Well, what do I yell at the sea?" And Irie is like, I guess fucking idiot. I don't know what I'm talking about. But Yoko is like, "Okay, cool, I'll do that then." And then she yells fucking idiot to the sea. Yoko is like, "Something smells." And Irie is like, "That's seawater." And she's like, "Oh shit, I wonder if it's salty. I want to go down for a drink."
Don't do that.
No.
Fish pee in there.
I mean, humans do too.
There's not that many of those left at this point, so.
Oh yeah, you're right, yeah. All right, the girls start driving on their bike and sing another song, but Yoko has to slam on the brakes as the bridge they're driving on is broken and they can't get across. So I have a note here that says they do sing a lot of songs in this anime, and I assume that these songs are like folk songs for each city and probably exist in real life.
They do. I would imagine so as well. As your
I didn't look it
foremost
up.
authority. I didn't either.
Oh yeah,
But
you are the
it
authority,
definitely.
yeah.
But as we see later in the episode, one of the other characters that we meet soon also is singing a song, and they both know that song.
Yeah.
I thought about it because, like, how much music surrounds us as people any given time is pretty interesting in the current iteration of humans. If you think about how hard it was to see music or to hear music in history of humanity, like, this is all a recent thing of easily accessible music. Like, until, like, the record player existed, you used to have to go somewhere and people would sing a song, create music, or do a cover. It was an event. And now, music is so, like, I could just click Spotify, even if I don't have an account, and just, boop, I could just be listening to music right now. That's a very different world that this show made me think about how easily accessible music was. I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, after the advent of the internet and computers and MP3s and that sort of thing, it was a little more easily accessible. Before that, you had CDs. Before that, you had cassette tapes. Before that, you had records. And there were people that dedicated entire rooms of their house to just being like a listening area where people would come over and that's what they would do. They're like, "Hey, you want to listen to this new album?" And then they just hang out and fucking sit in a room and listen to shit together.
Yeah, it kind of wild to think about. And the transition of it being like a group experience to being a solo experience does make sense. If you look at it from a bird's eye view of the timeline of music in general and how it used to be an event and then it became a smaller, more isolated event where you're bringing over friends and family to listen to music in a room and, like, I don't know, do a podcast, or what was then a podcast, which is just two people talking in a room. And then now where like a lot of music is solo, and then you go to a bar to have that camaraderie music event where everybody's listening to the same thing. I think it's very interesting. The evolution of music is wild to me. And being involved in the music industry, stuff like this makes me think about it a lot.
I think it is really interesting because before the record player, yeah, as you said, you had to go to a concert or go to a show or go to like a live music bar or walk on the street and maybe someone's performing on the corner. And then even before that, if we go medieval times, it's like you had your traveling fucking bards with their lutes, and then they sing a song and tell a story and people gather around to listen.
Yeah. Wild. Music is wild. But nowadays, like I don't know if you have the same feeling, but like seeing street performers is a very different experience than what was possibly before. Like street performers seem strange to me because of how rare they are. But I imagine back, if you were having any sort of festival, you had hundreds of street performers around just doing stuff. Anyways, let us continue with the episode.
Yeah, I was going to make a comment, but let's go.
Oh, no, Yoko, go ahead. What was your comment, Greg? No.
Okay. My comment was Yoko is like, well, our destination should be right over there. And all the buildings are mostly submerged in the ocean. And she says the pictures her sister took were all when the sea level was lower. Yoko's stomach rumbles and she's like, time to catch some fish. And Irie is like, sick. I'll go look for some other shit. Irie looks through some abandoned cars as it shows some atmospheric shots of the surrounding areas. Irie tries to catch some seagulls, but they fly away. But she sees something in a pile of trash. Cuts back to Yoko, and she's fishing and then daydreams, and we have a flashback/daydream sequence of her hanging out with her sister at Yokohama and talking about the sights and where they're going to eat. And apparently, Yokohama is famous for its Chinese food. This is the other place that I have been in Japan, the Ferris wheel at Yokohama.
Oh, shit, yeah?
I have been to that exact place that they had in the picture, and I thought it was cool.
Were you on the Ferris wheel, Greg?
No, that was like my first or second trip to Japan. I went there, and I did want to ride it, but I was back then a little too nervous to ask how much tickets were and if I can buy a ticket and looking like,
like a dumb
tourist. Yeah. So I just didn't do it, and I just sat there and watched other people do it and tried to live vicariously through them.
Right. You were like, wee, and you put your arms up and down.
Whoa. Yeah, I think that's what you do on a Ferris wheel.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, that's what I do on every Ferris wheel. I don't have a nervous fucking panic attack because I'm afraid of heights. I definitely just sit there and I go, this is so much fun.
Whenever I'm on a Ferris wheel, I always think about, what if the car I'm in, what if it like falls?
I can't not think about that.
But then I think about, how am I going to escape alive? So then I have all these ideas that I'm like jumping off debris and parkouring down the Ferris wheel.
Oh, man.
If it happened, I'd probably just be dead. So
Yeah, 100%. We would definitely not have the reaction speed to get out of the car fast enough.
But it cuts back to the present, and Yoko is still daydreaming, but then catches a fish, and she reels it up. But then a shark jumps out of the water and eats it, and all she is left with is the head. She grills up the head, but then Irie rolls up, dragging half a robot dude with her, and she said she found a human, and she connects it up to the motorcycle to get him powered on. They think it's broken, but then he springs to life and greets the girls, but then freaks out that he's a robot and he doesn't know who he is. Irie is like, you aren't a robot, you're a human that had your parts replaced with machine parts, a cyborg. And back in the day, turning people into cyborgs was used to ensure survival on patients who sustained severe physical damage. And she recites his model number of H Company's military model P45. So we get a little bit of insight into this character. If he has a military cyborg body, that would mean he was probably in the military. If you look at the shirt he's wearing right now in the screenshot, it looks like a Navy shirt. So we can assume that he was in the Navy of some sort. And we will see a few more hints later on in the episode. But this procedure was probably reserved for military members. I don't know if anyone can just go get military model P-45 bodies and run around in them.
I would assume also that they have it because when you're still stationed or you still want to continue to be in the military, they give you this body. Very Warhammer 40K up in this bitch. So, terrifying experience to think about. As this episode goes on, the horror of being... Like, okay, when they show his view, they have it lit up like a bunch of LEDs in front of his face. And that is my greatest fear. Like, the claustrophobia that I could possibly feel, knowing, like, what the world looks like, and then going to, like, an LED screen and feeling almost caged in. Oh, yeah. Woo. No. Not for me. When I go, Greg, do not rebuild my body in a cyborg. Unless you give me, like, really cool HD graphics.
Or, like, I put you in the thing that David had in Cyberpunk Edge Runners. Okay, yeah, and then you just get cyber psychosis, and then Adam Smasher just curb stomps you.
No, please don't. No. Not again. I don't want to relive it. R.I.P. David.
Yoko is like, oh, shit. This is the first time meeting a human in person. You look different from what I imagined. And she shakes his hand and introduces herself. He's like, well, I don't know my name, so call me Schwarchan. And they're like, Roger that, boss. And he's like, wait, that was a joke. But all right, let's just fucking roll with it anyway. Yoko starts hammering him with questions, but he's like, man, I don't remember shit. But then she's like, wait, something is attached to you. And it's a photo of his family that says, taking a walk at Robot Dad's workplace. Yoko is like, oh shit, that's close. Let's all go by bike and maybe you'll remember something. They roll out and Robot Dude starts singing, and then the girls start singing too. And it sounds like the Yokosuka national anthem or something. And then a hawk flies by and he fucking salutes Bald Eagle. Schwarchan is like, hey, why is it so quiet? And Yoko is like, well, that's because no one is here. And he's like, oh, nobody? And then he reboots as they drive through a tunnel. Schwarchan has a flashback to when he was first booted up, and his family is there to see him back online. It says it's reading the backup memory, and the restore has started.
Oh, were you reading the Japanese?
Yeah. Of course you knew that because you...
Yeah, because I obviously could read all of that.
Back to the present. The girls are like, hey, you good? And Schwarchan plays it off, but then his memories start to come back to him as they get closer to the port. They keep driving, but the road is blocked by a submarine. And Irie and Schwarchan are like, oh shit, a Sodyu-class submarine. So this is more evidence that he was in the military because he knows what kind of submarine this was. But then also it makes us question, why does Irie know so much about military robot model numbers?
I'm wondering, I mean, obviously we saw her androided up and shoot a beam out to blast that tank. But later in the episode, we get a moment where it's kind of awkward in that Yoko's humanity... We'll get there. We'll get there, and I'll go through it.
Right now at episode 2, I think we can make the same assumption that Irie is probably the same as Schwarchan here. She was human, but she was cyborged up because of something that happened. And maybe it has to do with them escaping the bunker or something like that. Because I always question, like in episode 1, we saw her like literally blast that tank with her fucking beam arm or whatever, right? But I was thinking, oh, okay, so we have Yoko, he's a human, and then we have Irie, who's a robot. Okay, cool duo. But in reality, Irie could have been human, and she was put into a robot. And it's also, when she brings Schwarchan up for Yoko to see, she's like, oh, it's a human. And then she then says it again to him when he boots up. He's like, you're not a robot, you're a human. So I think she has this affinity towards cyborgs, like considering them humans, even though they have the bodies of machines.
Yes.
Yoko is like, damn, I wonder if we can go around. But then she looks at her phone and is like, wait, this is the place, but it's all submerged by the ocean. They pick up Schwarchan and he walks to the end of the road and they see a shark. But then an even bigger aquatic animal jumps up and like headbutts the shark into the air.
He fucks that shark up. Aren't orcas known to just fuck sharks up every now and then?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
They are.
Okay.
Chor-chan says it was an orca, but they shouldn't be that big. But Irie says that some species are showing signs of mutation due to the endocrine disruptors, and large size is one of them. And then two smaller orca roll up, and they're like, oh, it's a mother and kids. That's nice.
She was like, could be a danger to my kids. Time to headbutt. And then just fucking into the sky. That shark didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, as we saw in episode 1, they weren't actually satellites. They were just
Yeah,
sharks.
it was just the orca blasting sharks into space. And the sun reflecting off their shiny skin.
Then Yoko starts yelling, fucking idiot, at the ocean. And then they all start doing it. But Chor-chan is really putting some emotion into it. It's getting dark now, and Yoko puts a jacket they found on Chor-chan as he looks at the picture of his family. And Yoko is like, hey, you want to come with us? And he tells him that they're on a journey to see a bunch of places. Chor-chan is like, I'd love to travel. And Yoko says they can probably get his body fixed at her sister's place when they find it. But Chor-chan is like, you know what? I'm going to hang out here for a bit. And then the wind blows, and Yoko and Irie look like they know what he's talking about. Chor-chan says his name is Suzuki Ichiro. And he's like, I can move with my arms. And he said it was fun hanging out with them, so no need to worry about him. The girls ride off, and Yoko is like, hey, Irie, what would you do if you were alone? And she's like, well, I want to be with you forever. And she's like, sick, me too. And they continue on.
Intense words. Like, you have your android who is possibly nearly indestructible. And what we know as Yoko as human, or as human as we understand it, and her saying, I want to be with you forever. It's like, that's a tough pill to swallow. You know?
You just need a cyborg body, and then you can do it forever.
Yeah, but Yoko's, I mean, she's going to, best case scenario at this point, she's potentially going to die of old age. And, well, I guess best case scenario, she turns into a cyborg and her and Yoko have the best time ever. But there's nobody else in the world. Where's she going to get her sweet cyborg body? Where's she going to transfer her consciousness?
At her sister's place.
Okay, all right. You might be right.
Night falls, and Ichiro remembers the disaster that befell the Yokosuka port, and his family was still there. So it's assumed they all died, right?
Yeah.
In that disaster. So
Yeah.
Ichiro's battery is at 0.2%, and he lets himself run out of juice while looking at the picture of his family. And then his lifeless half-robot body tumbles into the ocean, leaving behind the jacket that Yoko and Irie draped him with. And now he's returned to his family. And that's how episode 2 ends.
I think this show, so far, it's doing an okay job of, like, humanizing the cyborg characters or the android characters. But like you said, we didn't really get a lot of time with Ichiro. So how do we attach? It does feel strange a little bit, but I understand what they were going for. The emotions were there. I felt it in my heartstrings. I'm not dead yet.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of like strummed him a little bit.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like Acrobatic Silky where they ripped them out
No.
of my chest.
Yeah, and then shit stomped him and
Yeah, and then hung me with them. That's why I'm like, hopefully they didn't pull this card too soon. And I haven't seen episode 3 yet. So I'm curious if this theme of like loss is going to perpetuate through the rest of the series. And then each episode, it's going to get stronger and stronger. We'll see. Because I feel like if we had maybe another episode or 2 with Ichiro and then they did this, it would have hit a lot harder. But I feel like me explaining it in my notes potentially had a bigger emotional impact than me watching.
Okay. So, like, my theory on it would have been like this. This should have been a 2-episode thing where he kind of is like, yeah, you know, I'll come travel with you guys for a little bit. But, you know, starting to gain my memories back. And then they go through another town, have a really good time. And then he kind of realizes, oh, shit, I don't think I can survive in this world anymore. I don't want to be here. And I was already gone and you guys brought me back. There's that aspect of it. Like bringing back the dead. If you could, would they want to be here? If you could bring back your 180-year-old great-grandfather, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. That's, I think, would have pulled at the heartstrings a little bit more. But I also do want them to continue on and see more of Japan. So that was my thing on it.
Yeah, it just reminds me of the episode of Altered Carbon where they put the one girl's grandmother inside of this big white biker guy's body or whatever. And I know I've said it before in the podcast. I'll say it again. That guy deserves like a fucking Oscar for that performance of being this gigantic biker, but then speaking fluent old grandma Spanish. But it's the same thing in that episode. They had dinner and everyone got to see her or talk to her again. Obviously, it wasn't her original body or whatever. But at the end of the episode, she's like, yeah, you guys got to let me go. I don't want to be living in someone else's body. And I died a long time ago. So,
right.
You know, I'm glad we had dinner and shit and it was nice to catch up. But,
and to bring it back to a great show, this is what Yuji and Sukuna are going through. Like, Sukuna didn't necessarily ask to come back, but he's going to make the most out of it while he's here. Greg's like, that's so fucking stupid. That was Greg's face. Just so
he is
I'm
20
translating.
Fingers.
He does have 20 fingers. He does have 4 arms. We do know that. But actually, it does remind me a little bit of JJK, funny enough, because this is the ultimate JJK fucking me. Yuji and Sukuna are diametrically opposed people. Yuji will sacrifice himself to help others. Sukuna will sacrifice everyone to help himself. And could you imagine inhabiting the same body as the person that you hate the most in the world and then watching them make the decisions? I couldn't imagine a worse hell for either of them. And that's the whole point of like Yuji, I think, as a main character. I love him, man. I love that show.
Yeah, it's like trying to coach your friend at playing League of Legends for the first time.
Sukuna is fucking Faker trying to coach the gold rating fucking mid laner who thinks he's just trying to help. He should be a support player, but he doesn't know better.
And there's nothing you can do. You just have to sit there and just yell constantly as he misses skill shots and wastes his flash to flash backwards with 1 health, but then die of like a minion auto attack.
Yep. Okay, great analogy for League of Legends and JJK, Greg. Great one.
Yeah.
Really
Don't forget Altered Carbon. That's a really good series, by the way.
Yeah, Altered Carbon fucking rules. Onward to living inside of another body, Sanda. Greg, spoiler free. What's the vibe?
I didn't expect Fuyumura to say the things that she said, and I laughed at it.
Yeah, she's out of her goddamn mind. There was a TikTok I recently saw, a black woman living in Japan, and her experience learning about anime and the hypersexualization of like child characters, like 16-year-olds and stuff like that. And then going there and seeing it in person and understanding the fight that women have. And so in the, apparently, obviously this is not firsthand experience. This is not, I'm not your authority on Japan as much as Greg says that. But apparently that is happening more often, in which women are wanting to feel safer in the anime culture and scene, and like saying like, hey, like a lot of these things are terrible to show to people, let alone kids. We have to change the storytelling dynamic and make women a little more, less than just vessels of somebody to fuck or want to fuck. Please, can we get past this? It's going in a more healthy direction, and that's why we're seeing a lot more strong female characters that aren't just boobs on a stick, able to punch stuff in half, but not doing so. Like, dude, I don't know how many times you could fumble the bag with Sakura in Naruto, but you have fumbled every fucking bag, I think, with Sakura as a character. It makes me fucking angry. Orihime as well. I do not think that they've done a good job with Orihime as a character. And that's why, like, Momo's such a good fucking character.
Momo's a good character. Like, Yuriko's a good character in Tojima, even though she literally is just, like, quadruple Z chest or whatever.
Yeah.
But as you see in the later episodes, she beats everybody's ass.
Yeah.
And it's to show the strong female character. And I think it's fine to still show, like, femininity and the attraction, but not have it be the only thing that makes that character. I do feel like, in general, trends I've noticed with us watching anime and from my previous anime watching experiences, it is getting better where some of these characters are deeper. That's not to say that in the past they didn't have strong ass female characters, and this is just some brand new thing that's happening. A handful of my favorite animes. Iria Zerum the animation. The reason why I like that character is because Iria, the main character, she is basically one of those super strong female character types that just fucks everybody up. But she still has the female sensitive side to her as well, as you see throughout the story. Armitage, again, is another one where you have this super strong female character. It's like, yeah, when they introduce them, like, yeah, they're sexy or whatever. But as the story progresses, like, they're cornerstones of that show and pivotal parts of the story that they have, like, strong choices that they make that basically make the anime what it is. Claymore is another one that I can think of. It's like, yeah, you have all these homunculus arm sling sword wielding chicks or whatever. And like, yeah, again, they are like visibly attractive, but they're the ones that are literally like fucking everybody up. And the dudes are just kind of like, yeah, you know what? I'm your bitch.
Okay, just like Chain Soldier.
Yeah, exactly. Chain Soldier. You have an entire division of strong females that are like doing their thing.
Nah, Chain Soldier is a different male fantasy. I'm joking when I say the Chain Soldier.
But hands off Kote Sashi-kun. You have all these strong female athletes, and he is just doing his best to support them by giving them massages.
Yeah,
I see it. I see it. This is the transformation of it.
Okay. Also, she does reference in the TikTok Gachiakuta and talks about how talking about sexual assault in a real and healthy way after showing this character Amo. Those two episodes together have a lot of growth in such a short amount of time and a lot of understanding of why characters are the way they are. That kind of storytelling is a good way to show the darkest side of humanity.
Just to address Pinky's comment real quick before we move to Sanda. The reason why I don't like May I Ask for One Final Thing isn't because of the female character or her strength, but there's no convincing struggle for her in the show. That is like the part that I don't like. Is she can literally just punch everything in half, stop time, go super fast, and beat all the boys' asses, and like that's it. There's nothing really going on besides that. And in the later episodes, they have all this political intrigue with the maidens and the different nations. And then another girl, she got isekai'd by one of the other gods or whatever, and now the girls are going to have to fight each other or whatever. But to me, there is no struggling in it. She's not like struggling to fight or struggling to make any changes or like do anything. She's just kind of there and it happens and she's just OP as shit. So it's the same. Like if you look at Solo Leveling, I don't like Solo Leveling either because Jinwoo is literally just OP as shit, arising everyone and their mom. And then as he's AFK farming some dungeons, this arisen mom is like making him some breakfast. It doesn't really hit for me. It's not tickling my fancy because there's nothing happening where this abuse of power is justified.
They showed at the beginning of Solo Leveling in general where he almost has those moments of like, oh, I could do some really evil shit and there's nothing anybody could do about it. And then they just cut it away. It's gone. It's back to, he's the best dude, just doing the best dude stuff all the time.
But those other animes that I was talking about, the female character was strong, but then they did have the struggle that they had to go through. And it grew them as characters, which is why I like it. If we bring it back to the whole like harem and character development thing that I put so much emphasis on, like that's why it's important to me, where the character needs to have some sort of struggle, some sort of reason to be doing the things that they're doing, not because I feel best when I punch people I don't like. So that's why I don't like May I Ask You One Final Thing so far. I do understand that they brought the maidens in, and then we see that the pink-haired girl in the beginning is the ultimate villain because two gods in the background are fighting for each other's, or one of them loves one of them, but the other one doesn't love the other one. So the god is like, hey, I'm just going to use my pawns to fight your pawns, and let's just have a pawn battle, and whoever wins has to make out with the other one or some shit. It's just not compelling for me. Other than that, I think the animation's good. I don't like the development of characters because I still feel like that the main chick is very one-dimensional. I don't feel like there's much depth to her. The prince she hangs out with, that guy's a loser too. All the other guys in the show are also everyone's a fucking loser in that show. Even the other maiden is a loser. Everyone's a loser except the main girl. If this was gender swapped and everything was switched where all the guys are girls and then the main girl is a guy, I would still think it's awful too. Because you can look at the assassin one. I feel the same way about that. It's like this guy is somehow the strongest, but then I'm going to do the things that I want and all the girls like want to bang me, and then I'm going to carve wedding ring scars into our hands so we're married. And oh, by the way, I'm like 14, but you're like a 4,000-year-old elf chick. What the hell is going on? And then you want to have some philosophical discussion about not assassinating some human trafficker that has sold billions of slaves and killed just as many. But I also was watching Chitose in a Ramune bottle or something like that. I just don't like those animes where the kids have the wisdom of full-blown adults. It's a giant turnoff for me. Oh, dude, I like your...
I'm so cold.
What is that, a sweater?
Yeah, it's my grandma's sweater, dude.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, but let's get into Sanda now.
Yes, let us Sanda.
Episode 2. Fuyumura stops by the boys' dorm and it's dirty as fuck. And all the boys are like, holy shit, it's a girl. And Fuyumura brought a whole box of bratty beans for Sanda. And then is like, okay, that was it. See you later. After Fuyumura leaves, all the boys are like, man, what the hell? Why is she coming to see you? And he's like, bratty beans. I love them. The boys are like, why is she coming by to drop off your favorite thing? And all the boys give him the death stare. But Sanda thinks fast and is like, oh, hey, it's dinner time. Let's have a race to the cafeteria. But Utagawa is like, no, not so fast. And they pretend to interview him about his relations with Fuyumura. So I will say that each of his roommates has names that they did show, but they didn't translate those names. So I know that DJ Montague can translate them, but I decided to save him the hassle, and I translated them.
Dude, you're such a good friend, man. What a nice guy.
Amaya Hitoshi is the guy with the short black hair, and we do see him more in this episode. Dozo no Ike, he's the fat kid in the dorm. Mogi Hajime, he was in episode 1. He was the one talking to Sanda and telling him that Fuyumura is crazy and she's trying to kill him. Utagawa Iori is the bald guy with the glasses, and he's the one in the screenshot interviewing him right now.
Okay.
So if I use names, that's who they are. I'll try to preface it with bald kid, fat kid, guy from episode 1, short hair, black hair kid.
Guy with dots for eyes.
So Sanda narrates that the kids are like national treasures. And in the current time of Tenshi, year 5, there are roughly 50,000 citizens under the age of 15. And that is 0.1% of the Japanese population.
Well, that's insane, by the way. To give you a reference, 18 to 22% of the population of America is under the age of 15.
Look up Japan, actually, because they're the ones with the struggling birth rate right now.
11 to 11.2% is under the age of 15. And as we're world building in Sanda, it's so much worse than I thought it would be.
Yeah, I have a lot of notes for this episode. They dropped a lot of information about the world.
Okay, continue. So I think we're both on the same page of like really absorbing what the world is like in this episode, because fucked up, dude.
At the Daikoku Welfare Academy, all the kids are monitored and protected, and now adults show respect to the kids, when in the past, kids showed respect to the adults. The kids talk about the school lunches, and Sanda is daydreaming and is like, man, kids are really great, as he's thinking like Santa. And the boys are like, man, what's with you? And Sanda thinks the boys have been pretty cute lately.
Like cute in a
child
those kids
sense,
not cute isn't I'm trying to touch them in a weird way.
Yeah, I'm not like Hikaru and I'm going to raw dog chicken them and then marinate them. The boys are like, man, what the hell? And Sanda is like, here, I'll cut out all the bad parts of the meat for you. And Utagawa is like, get off my meat, man. What the fuck? And ever since Fuyumura came by in those sexy ass street clothes of like a purple camisole and some jeans and you not getting riled up, something is wrong with you. And you're acting all mature and shit.
Good on you, Greg, for knowing what a cami is. Proud of you, dude. But also, like, again, she is not hypersexualized in the show. Like, she doesn't have a fucking rack. Good on Sanda. Proud of you.
Sanda can't remember what she wore, but thinks that he can't see her as the opposite sex anymore, and he just sees her as a child. Then Sanda is like, oh shit, am I turning into Santa on the inside too? Back at the dorm, Amaya talks to Sanda, and Amaya is like, the boys are just seeing a friend grow up. So if one of us is doing it, then that means we all have to do it. And nowadays, kids want to stay kids forever, but you're completely normal. Sanda is like, damn, cool. Thanks for having my back. Then Amaya is like, well, that's because I know your secret. And then he whips out a tub of gamer sups that he used to incapacitate Sanda. And you can also get your tub of gamer sups with limited edition flavors like tased until incapacitated by using promo code DJ Montague at checkout for 10% off of your order of gamer sups that incapacitates your friends.
I mean, you could also go with the flavor 92 on the inside, 18 on the outside. That's probably a pretty disgusting flavor, I would imagine. If, you know, that's reference to this episode, by the way. I'm not a fucking weirdo, I swear to God.
I mean, I guess it could kind of be like Grandpa's ashes. Who knows?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if we went to the Gachiakuta route, the tub of gamer subs could be, my hands are literally burnt and charred over, skin flavored.
Yeah, or like leather boots worn without socks for 17 years. Visit gamersubs.gg and use promo code DJ Montague at checkout for 10% off of your order of Gamersubs. And I will do DJ Montague and Gamersubs a favor and say that none of those flavors exist.
Thank you.
Gamersubs won't incapacitate your friends. They're just tasty beverages that you can enjoy with caffeine or non-caffeinated via the AFK line of beverages.
Thank you. I did send over one of our segues about a year ago to the guy I get in touch with for the sponsorship, and he was like, that's fucking genius. So, at least they know.
I mean, I have a new one every single week.
They're perfect, Greg. You're perfect.
No. The only thing that's perfect is Amaya's tasing ability, because that's what he used to incapacitate Sanda.
He had a really good stab. Very stiff arm stab. I don't think Sanda could get away from that. Good job.
It's always funny how shows, not just anime, depict being unconscious, because that's not how the taser works.
Right. I mean, you incapacitate somebody with a taser for a very short amount of time. You would have to keep it on them as you tie them up. You don't just knock them out. I guess you could tase someone until they're knocked out, but they're also probably have pooped and peed themselves.
Well, and like their brain is probably fucking fried at that point too. Yeah, they're incapacitated because they're dead.
Yeah. It's not like a video game where you incapacitate the dude's just like, oh, wow.
The other boys walk in and are like, damn, Sanda, just sleeping on the ground? We were going to hit the bads. And Amaya's like, you guys go ahead. I'll wake him up and bring him. Sanda wakes up as Santa, draped in a red PE coat or whatever, in the exploded science lab, tied to a chair. And he starts yelling. And Fuyumura is like, damn, stop yelling. And she's also there, tied to a chair. And he's like, why are you here? And Fuyumura says, Amaya has a violent streak. And he's like, man, you guys blew up the lab, so don't talk. Sanda is like, how did you know my secret identity? And Amaya says, when everyone ran in episode 1, because he transformed and threatened Fuyumura, he stayed and watched. Sanda is like, why you got us tied up? What do you want? And Amaya is like, oh, nothing really. I just like having people under my thumb. But now I'm on your naughty list. Oh, well. Amaya continues and says, as a 14-year-old, he can do anything he wants, and says that according to the Youth Protection Act, a kid can kill an adult and it isn't considered a crime. And there have been cases where kids have gone on a killing spree and just went back to class the next day.
That's insane.
That is insane.
Because in the current world, you can't legally, kill a bunch of people and then as a 92-year-old man go back to work and be like, yeah, everything was fine. You let him live his life. You go to fucking jail, or you should.
The kids are the future in this world. They're doing everything they can to make sure the kids make it to adulthood, I guess.
Yeah, which is insane as well, because it's not like that kid, like, killing people wouldn't grow up to be a monster too.
Yeah, Fuyamura says the same thing later on in the episode.
Yeah.
But Santa is like, well, I'm 14 on the inside. So if it's me you want, then let Fuyamura go. But Fuyamura is like, hell nah, don't touch Santa. And Amaya comments that it's rare to see a kid and an adult have faith in each other these days. Amaya is like, well, okay. If you two kiss, then I'll let you go. And Fuyamura is like, that's it? And he's like, not a peck on the cheek. You like gotta make out and shit. Santa is like, fuck you. But Fuyamura is like, give me that tongue, Santa. Let's get out of here. But Santa is like, Amaya, are you trying to make me cross a line I'd never cross? Fuyamura is a kid, and Santa would never lay a hand on a kid. And Fuyamura is like, you just said you were 14 years old. But Santa says the Santa Claus genes won't let him break that taboo. Then Fuyamura is like, man, I'm not letting you get locked up in a cell before you fulfill your promise to me. Pucker up, bitch. Amaya starts laughing, and Fuyamura is like, kiss me, fucker. Then Santa thinks that kids that are cruel and self-centered aren't cute at all. And he's done being the model Santa Claus. And then grows fucking skis out of his feet and cuts the ropes. And he's like, Amaya, time for a spanking. Was there anything you wanted to say?
No, I'm good.
Amaya is like, nah, man, Santa can't hurt kids. And Santa is like, yeah, you're right. But why does Santa Claus have fucking sword feet? Just then, an old ass hand opens the door. And it's the headmaster. And he's like, Amaya, what are you doing here all by yourself? And he's like, I'm not by myself. But turns around, and Santa and Fuyamura are gone. But they're just hiding behind a table. The headmaster caresses Amaya's face with his old burnt-ass hand and is like, your skin is so smooth. And then says his true age is the subject of many rumors among students. And he says this year he will be turning 92.
His hands are still 92. His face, on the other hand, a lot of reconstructive surgery, a lot of skin tightening.
He says by having near lethal levels of, I had to write this down, of hyaluronic acid and collagen injected into his face, he can keep his youthful appearance. So he can demonstrate the value of youth in Japan.
I think it's hyaluronic.
Amaya is wasting his youth in this destroyed classroom. Santa thinks that the headmaster hates adults and is obsessed with children. And his name is Oshibu Hifumi. And his hands are 92 years old and believes that his academy students will rebuild Japan one day. The school motto is trauma-free curriculum, based on his belief traumas we experience in life break down a child's psyche, and he keeps a close eye on all the students. Oshibu is like, Amaya, because you're in here alone, does this mean you have emotional trauma? And Amaya is like, fuck no. No, man. I'm trauma-free. Believe me. And he's like, nah, you're lying. I can see it. Oshibu uses his cane to pull down his eyebrows, and he's like, you can't tell, but I'm fucking mad right now. And my face muscles don't work because of all this plastic surgery. And says kids that lie are just as bad as kids with trauma. And I'll have to set you straight by bringing you to the half basement.
Okay, so real quick, I wish I got a screenshot of this because he does it twice in the episode, but it's really hard to get the best screenshots for what we're talking about. But like him putting his cane up to his face and making his eyebrows go further down and his squinty face, I was like, dude, this guy gets it. Like, he really knows how to be
92 years old.
Yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's so insane.
Fuyamura is like, damn, I thought that was a rumor. There really is a class where they put problem kids. But then she's like, hey, where's Santa? As Oshibu is leading Amaya away, Santa blasts through the wall with his fucking sword feet skis and kicks the headmaster with his sword feet and is like, let that kid go. And Santa thinks that one thing has come from this, and that is he realizes something is wrong with this school. Oshibu is like, damn, well, good thing my face doesn't bleed because of all the surgery. I'll just call for backup. But Santa kicks his backup call button out of his hand, and he's like, damn, I didn't expect you to really show up. But I'm not scared. I'm here to protect the kids. But Santa is like, well, that's funny. I'm here to do that exact same thing too. And then carves a Batman S, Santa S around him, which then collapses the ground. Oshibu is like, you're old and gross looking. And Santa is like, yeah, well, you're actually old and gross looking. And if you can't answer what you had for dinner the day before yesterday, then it proves you're old and dumb. And he starts counting down from 5. Oshibu is struggling, and then Santa skates away with the kids. But then, after he hits 0, Oshibu remembers that the day before yesterday, he wore a t-shirt from it-aesthetics.com where he used promo code TABC10 to get 10% off of his order, or promo code TABC5 to get $5 off of your order with other stacking coupons. Visit it-aesthetics.com today to get your shirts for your 92-year-old body.
I thought you were going to say he was going to eat the shirt.
Well,
but
I had to make some adjustments, yeah.
Yeah.
And save 10% off of your order or $5 off of your order using TABC10 or TABC5 at checkout.
Yes, indeed. And thank you, IT Aesthetics, for dressing us in these wonderful outfits. They ship really fast, by the way, for everybody who's curious.
But no, he didn't have a shirt. He remembered that he had boiled tofu the day before yesterday.
Old people food.
And Fuyumura is like, damn, that's definitely old people food. They escape to the roof of the dorm, and Amaya is like, damn, that was a close call. But then Fuyumura slams his head into the railing and is like, you threatened me and Santa and knocked us out and blackmailed us. And now that you know his true identity, I gotta kill you. Amaya is like, I had to. I was on a mission. And then does the cute boy Zoolander blue steel look. And Santa is like, hate to break it to you, man, but that shit doesn't work on Fuyumura. Fuyumura dangles him over the edge, but he says that he wants Santa to make his rounds again. And his family owns a cake shop, but it's about to go out of business because there are less kids and the country is getting poorer and poorer. Santa then says that the Daikoku Academy used to be a department mall. And Amaya says if people knew Santa existed and started doing Christmas again, his family's business would bounce back and make a ton of cakes. Santa is like, damn, in a time when no one believes in Santa Claus. But I have these 2 kids believing in me, and I got so much power flowing through these veins. Fuyumura says we can't trust him, and we don't know if that's true. And Amaya says it's better than trusting an adult. And Fuyumura says it doesn't matter because if we can't trust you now, we wouldn't be able to trust you as an adult. And eventually everyone is going to turn into that old headmaster fuck anyway. Santa is like, no, what he said was true. I can see it clear as day. Look, with my old man vision, I can see the cake shop from here. And he tells Fuyumura that getting old isn't all gross and scary. Santa is like, Fuyumura, you got any of those bratty beans on you? And she does. And he turns back into Sanda. And he says that this is our secret. And as long as you don't tell anyone, I'll protect you from the headmaster. They all promise together, and they put all their hands in the middle. But then Sanda is like, wait, how does Fuyumura know my secret if no one else knew? It cuts to Oshibu on the phone reporting the Santa incident, and it's time for the Saint Nick Pursuit Unit to go into action.
What the fuck are you talking about with the Saint Nick Pursuit Unit?
And that's episode 2.
SNPU is the new show.
Law and Order, SNPU.
I like Sanda. I think it's funny. It's silly. And it's appropriate because obviously Christmas. Good call.
We see now it's probably going to take a little darker twist than any other Santa Claus anime out there.
I don't think there's really any Santa Claus anime all the time anyway, but yeah, you're going to have some kids getting strung up in test tubes and experimented on, I'm sure.
I wouldn't doubt that. It obviously seems like there's a population issue in the world that they're creating in Sanda. We only know of Japan right now.
Mm-hmm.
So is it something like if kids are only 0.1% of the population,
Mm-hmm.
and that's 50,000, if I could do reverse math, that means that the rest of the 99.9% of the population equals like 50 something million, like a ridiculous amount of people. So you're telling me that, and I'm assuming here, I don't know exactly what constitutes as a kid and at what age they become adults, but let's say it's like 18.
Mm-hmm.
So you're telling me that there's 50 million people between the ages of 18 to 100, but then there's only 50,000 kids under the ages of 18.
It is 50 million, you're right.
Okay, cool. I can do math.
Mm-hmm.
How did that come to be? And I would like to say that it's something where they're using the kids to study youth or immortality or something like that.
Probably
And
something like that.
they had such an issue with birth rates and repopulation in Japan, they decided to take it to the other extreme and is like, well, we don't need to have kids if we just live forever.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. I think that'll be the main storyline, and Santa Claus is the one that gets people to procreate. This show's weird. It's definitely strange. I should say that if the population's still 50% female, I mean, 50 million people living in Japan. How many people currently live in Japan? 122 million. So their population has gone down by 50% and they've lost all their kids. You can imagine it's very similar for the rest of the world. Yeah, this show's fucked up, man. But, I mean, I assume that the women, once they see Santa Claus's ripped fucking body, they'll be like, oh yeah, I'm down for procreation again.
Maybe if they saw the headmaster's 92-year-old hands, they'd be like, oh man, that's hot. I don't know what world they live in.
Yeah, true. I mean, can't kink shame.
I mean, that's like basically you saying, damn, I wish, like, I hope I'm never that fucking ugly as a 92-year-old.
Okay, Greg, don't bring that back like I didn't grow from that, okay? I'm a new man. I'm a new person, okay? I like Sanda. And I'm excited to see how fucking dystopian the world gets. Because we have, like, 3 shows in this season that are, like, dystopian future. Toward in the Apocalypse, Sanda, and then Gachiakuta.
We should move to Gachiakuta, episode 14, where we can see where the global warming happened as the crew is rolling in their Jeep Wrangler. No emissions restrictions here.
Yeah.
And are listening to the news
Just
with newscaster Mimo.
Rolling coal, dog.
And Engine says he always has to drive because if he doesn't, everyone falls asleep. And Gris is the worst offender because his driving is so smooth and pleasant. And then Engine launches the Jeep off of some jumps.
Mm-hmm.
Rio and Rudo have another interaction where she's like sleeping on him.
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't know where this goes. Just stop doing it unless it goes somewhere.
I don't think this goes anywhere, but I don't mind that this exists because of how I view relationships. Because this isn't like Chekhov's gun to me. Like someone having a camaraderie and feeling safe enough around somebody to fall asleep on them. As a guy, it's a little bit different, but I think as, you know, growing up as females or growing up as an emotionally stable human being, if you feel that camaraderie and you feel the safety with somebody, you're allowed to, you know, sleep on them. People usually will be like, oh yeah, you're fine. Like, you could sleep on my leg. Use it as a cushion. You know what I mean? Like, What do you mean, What do you mean, Greg? Is that weird? Greg's fixing his batteries, dude.
Sorry, I had to change batteries.
Greg's fixing his batteries and also making me feel bad about being a well-adjusted, emotionally stable
No,
human
I'm not
being.
making you feel bad. You're making
You
yourself
did,
feel
Greg.
bad because you're making the assumption of the meaning of my ming.
Chat, fuck this guy.
No, chat, fuck DJ Montague. How about that? We'll just have like a fuck contest with chat.
What the fuck?
Chat, make us fuck each other.
No! We've gone a different direction than I was trying to.
Real quick to address what you said. I think if both people have that same outlook, then I think it's okay. Any relationship is a two-way street. It has to be. In this situation, we know that Rudo fucking has no idea what's going on.
Right.
And then Rio is obviously comfortable with Rudo, which is fine. But right now, Rudo isn't really comfortable with anybody else. So now she's kind of imposing her being comfortable onto Rudo, who isn't comfortable.
I think she's just tired.
I think so too. But then there's also someone sitting to the left of her. There's people in the fucking back. There's like people fucking all over. You don't have to lay on Rudo. But to address what you said, if it was two people of a like mind, then I think that's okay. But if Rudo doesn't know what's going on, then this could be perceived as leading Rudo on, when in reality, she's just like, oh yeah, camaraderie, you're just a friend, I'm going to sleep on you. But Rudo doesn't know that.
Yeah,
because
Rudo
he doesn't
has
understand.
no idea what's going on. Yes, if you're both well-adjusted humans, which Rudo is not, I think that he's finally getting a taste of what normal, well-adjusted humans should be like at this point, and that's what's his unnerving nature. I don't know if there's like a romantic incentive here, because at the end of the day, I think Rudo wants to help Amo the most at this point, because I think Rudo understands where she's coming from to a certain degree. He has no idea what she's been through, but you could tell at the end he was like, oh wow, I fucked up. I need to protect this person. And then when he sees, as we get to the later part of the episode, when he sees the Watchman boots, he's about to snap. So he has that nature of at least wanting to protect someone.
Rio still has rope marks from Tomsi's vital instrument, and Rudo and her talk about Remlin's defensive spells, and it only cures lethal damage, so everyone is still a little bit hurt.
I thought this was a little weird, I'll be real with you, because like the ropes and like a girl, there are 6 dudes in this car.
Yeah, she could have slept on any of them, but...
No. We could have seen the rope burns on anybody else. Why did they need to be on her legs?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're well-adjusted adults.
Apparently. I apparently am not.
Okay.
I was like, hey, wait a second, guys.
I thought it was weird too, because if you remember from last episode, they didn't really specify how everyone was. Well, they kind of did. Like, it showed Tomsi tie him up, but then he roped everyone in together, and they were all just in a big spool of yarn as like a giant amalgamation of yarn people. If anything, it would have made more sense if that rope burn was on her neck, because their heads were sticking out of like the thread sandwich.
Yeah, that was weird.
And you would think that there would be more rope burns on her, not just her legs. Like her hands would be fucking burned.
That was a weird interaction. But maybe I'm the weird one. That's what I'm saying. It's like maybe I'm strange.
No, I thought it was weird too. But Engine is like, well, we should all go get checked out. I know a doctor nearby. So he takes them to the city he first took Rudo, and to the doctor he first took Rudo to also. Everyone is like, Engine, like stopping here. And he says she's hella cool, and she was a pioneer and the first to treat body pollution. And then it zooms in on a picture of the doctor when she had hair. Engine said she studied polluted objects to learn how to cure it, but she worked way too close to them, and the shouting and hair loss is an after effect, and she yells to call her by her name, which is Alice Stilza. Rudo is like, Stilza? Wait a minute. And then August and Aisha come out of the back room, and August is like, hey, yo, grandma, your fucking baking is trash and it tastes like shit. So if we remember, August here, he's the one that makes the masks, and Aisha is the healer for the cleaners. Aisha explains their parents are no longer with them, and August is like, yeah, they fucking dead. And then she says she can learn healing from grandma, and August is like, she's a fucking wicked good doctor. And Alice is like, if my sweets suck, stop eating them. And he's like, no, but they're still the worst. They all get treated, and Aisha is tired, and Rudo eats the sweets, and he is like, holy shit, these are amazing. Aisha and August leave on their motorcycle, and August says that the cloud is passing by soon, and to find shelter from the trash rain.
How fucking dystopian do we need to be sometimes, you know? The trash rain? That just sounds like it sucks really bad.
Well, it does, because the crew rolls in the Jeep Wrangler and takes shelter under a rock overhang. And then it starts raining trash. An engine explains the sphere moves, and it sometimes drops trash, and it generally follows the same route all the time. So people create safe zones. But with the trash falling, people die from it. And Tomsy says it turns more people against the sphere, but anyone that tries to go take their revenge is killed by the border.
Okay, you can see how far the trash falls to kind of give you a gauge. You don't see the cloud overhead of the sphere. You just know that it's somewhere nearby, and the trash is falling so far that it doesn't blot out the sun. They are shooting trash out of the side of the sphere at such a propulsion that it's just like fucking everywhere. It's just fucking TVs and computers and shit flying everywhere.
I mean, 100% that this trash is reaching terminal velocity.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, maybe even faster. Maybe it's shot out of like a cannon on the side.
In terms of like physics, even if it was shot out of a cannon, that initial extra propulsion that it had, depending on how long it travels, like it doesn't carry that energy the entire way.
Right.
It would eventually just end up being whatever 9.7 meters per second squared terminal velocity of the mass of the object.
You said you weren't a chemist, Greg, but you are a scientist. Look at you go.
I'm a fucking loser. Rio is like, yeah, it's a mystery. So how did Rudo and the angels pass through the border? Rudo says he doesn't know, but he remembers seeing something. And then it does a little standard definition TV thing of scribbles and like a little flashback for Rudo. And you don't really get too much from it, really.
You do in the intro. Oh, the intros and the outros have changed.
Oh, yeah, because this is the second half. So
yeah, the new intro is not as good as the first intro, but still good.
I like the first intro song better.
Me too. I thought it was fucking metal as fuck.
But then Engine's communicator starts to ring, and it's Semiyu. And she says they should go around the back when they return, since they're dealing with an infestation. Rudo is like, what that? And Engine says, it's marauders. And then it cuts to some dudes with an RPG outside of the Cleaner HQ shooting at it. They have a group at the front, and then a group trying to break in from the side. But Semiyu is like, you didn't put a hole in our base, you idiot. And then the Marauder team is like, man, we tried to break in, but we can't fucking damage this shit. Semiyu says if you want to enter, then you need permission from the invisible shut-in. And then it cuts to a dude in front of a TV under a blanket in a messy-ass room, and he's like, damn, it looks scary out there.
Why did they portray me like that? That's very weird. I don't wear a blanket all the time.
Yeah, he wears grandma's sweater.
Did I do it? Am I doing it now?
Semiyu then rolls out the front, and the Marauders shoot another RPG at her, but she vital instrument slows down time and then grabs the RPG firmly with one hand and throws it back at them.
This was so fucking dope, by the way. Semiyu's fucking dope as shit. Greg, you didn't think so?
I think she's a nice lady.
This was so cool.
If she was my teacher, she would be like teacher hot 25.
Oh, okay. All right, Greg. Greg, we know who Greg's favorite character is so far. Greg, who is your favorite character?
If I had to pick a favorite character, I'm never good at this because I don't really have a lot of favorites. Mm-hmm. There's really nothing in my life that excites me. But okay, I will say the most identifiable character for me is Bro. We get introduced to him later in the episode.
All right. He's pretty great.
Semiyu throws an RPG back and beats the shit out of all the guys.
And then dodges bullets, and it's awesome.
Yeah, she does dodge bullets.
And then she kicks the shit out of everybody. Oh, by the way, my favorite character so far is Engine, for anyone curious.
You said it in the last episode, and I think the episode before that, and probably you'll say
every single episode. I'm like, Engine's so cool. Oh my god!
Yeah, you're like, Octo, break these nuts, Engine,
dude. Dude, Octo, break my pelvis in half, dude. You know
what I mean? Dude. Octo, break it off.
Fucking Christ, dude. What happened to us? We used to be normal, well-adjusted adults, Greg. At one point in our lives,
well-adjusted. Yeah. All right. The team rolls up and are like, damn, girl. And then Semiyu questions one of the Marauders, but they're out cold. And Engine and Semiyu are like, well, I can make a good guess at who ordered this, and they'll be starting something soon. Cuts to some old dude at the Dan Dulce. monologuing about how he likes nice places like this. And it has excellent food, excellent service. There are a few new faces, and it shows 2 cloaked figures. And he's like, this place is sick. If it weren't for those people over there. And then it shows our cleaner team having a meal together.
Also looking like psychos.
He goes into that. He says they're regulars too, but they all have a nasty look in their eyes. And then it zooms in on all their eyes, and he's like, her eyes are nasty. His eyes are nasty. And then Rudo gets out of the bathroom and rolls up, and Rio is like, oops, I drank your drink, Rudo. Indirect kiss. So again, another interaction. Just saying.
Okay.
And then the guy sees him, and he's like, holy shit, that guy has the nastiest look in his eyes that I've ever seen. And then he runs out of the store or the bar. I'm keeping track of all these things, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm a well-adjusted adult.
Yeah, 100%. We are definitely the most well-adjusted podcast ever to exist here at the Anime Book Club podcast. And we appreciate all of you well-adjusted adults for being here with us together. And
you don't have to be adjusted.
Okay, adjust these nuts, Greg.
No, let's go. Rudo gets back to the table, and he's like, why are we always eating together? And Engine says, it's important to take breaks. And Rio is like, we always get a meal together after a mission. And Zonka is like, man, shut the fuck up and eat. Rudo is like, shouldn't we be more alert? The base just got attacked. And Gris is like, Rudo, I get you. But food and fellowship will always help us for the next fight. And it's not the first time that we've been attacked. Rudo is like, does Semiyu fight them every time? And Engine is like, yup. You got to be crazy or powerful to get past her. Rudo is like, why is she the receptionist then? And Engine says that her eyes, her vital instrument, have the power of sight and can't be used to defeat a trash beast. And she always wanted to work a desk job. Rudo is like, okay. So not all givers can defeat trash beasts. And Rio says it depends on the giver's personality and how they treat their vital instrument. And people that use them to their fullest are usually attackers. And people that want to keep their vital instruments intact are usually defenders.
I don't know how accurate that is. Because if she can't see the internal soul of the trash beasts and their motivations, she would be useless on the battlefield. But she can see the internals of these marauders and dodging RPG rockets and shit, dodging bullets.
Yeah, but the only way to kill a trash beast is by using a vital instrument. Just because she can see it, if she punched the core, then it wouldn't do anything because she's not defeating it with the vital instrument. It's more like a support instrument. So now if she wanted to like use it to her fullest, she would just be Cyclops and then just beam lasering these fucking things in half.
Sick. I didn't even think about that, Greg. Oh man, I really hope she gets some eye lasers and just starts fucking going like optic blast and then just fucking lays somebody out.
Oh.
I miss Marvel vs. Capcom, I will say. I just want to get that out in the open.
You basically just have Cyclops, Cable, and Iron Man, and all you do is chain the level 1s together. And
dude, Hyper,
and then
Viper Beam.
Yeah, and Hyper. And then you lose, and then that's pretty much what happens.
Oh, man. I remember going to the arcade as a kid and playing Hayato, Jin, and Storm in Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and trying so fucking hard to make that team work. That team is dog shit. I mean, Storm is incredible. S+ tier. But I played Storm as an anchor and fucking dog shit. I just, oh, dude. And I couldn't play Storm very well. I really wanted to play Hayato, and I fucking sucked at him. And then I started playing Blackheart, and I was like, oh, this is easy.
And then you Storm, Magneto, Doctor Doom. And then 0 to 100.
I played Blackheart, Doctor Doom, Sentinel for a long time. And
Sentinel was super popular.
Yeah, that's who I was actually doing well in tournaments with. I never really won any tournaments for Marvel because like it's fucking Marvel and
Marvel's hard. Like I couldn't get it. Dude, like there's just too much shit going on.
Man. Marvel is very difficult.
You get caught with a low, then it's like Berserker Barrage, and then like
there was one person that could play Wolverine effectively, and it was fucking Justin fucking Wong. But I mean, like he played everybody. You'd see people playing Magneto, Storm, Sentinel. And you're just like, dude, I'm not, like, I'm getting triangle mixed up with 2-frame lows. Get the fuck out of here, man. I'm playing Blackheart and trying to stomp spirits at you. Rough out here in the streets.
Rudo says he wants to know more about different instruments. And Engine is like, don't worry, they got you. And Rudo is like, they? And then Gita butts in with Team Child of Bro and Deer, who is the baby that we saw in the earlier episodes.
Dear Santa.
Bro Santa, Dear Santa.
What the fuck, man?
And Gita, Hebi, Fantasia. Deer and Rudo have a stare-off. And then Rudo's like, fuck you, man. Fuck you, baby. I'm not sharing my food with you today. Because if we remember when Rio first introduced sweets to Rudo, and Rudo was like, holy shit, this is the best shit I've ever eaten. Deer came in and they were like fighting over lollipops and shit. Gita is like, hey, Rudo, long time no see. And he's like, who the fuck are you? And she's like, man, I was in the cleaner HQ room when you first came in. And then it has a little flashback of that aura screenshot that DJ
the aura
Montague
farming
had 2 episodes ago. Bro makes introductions and says there's more members of the child team, but they're not here right now. Gita is like, hey, yo, Rudo, tell me about what it's like topside. And Brew is like, hey, we shouldn't talk about it outside the base. And Engine is like, yeah, there are people snooping around. And the Marauders yesterday got their info about Rudo from some strangers at the bar. And they just walked over and handed it to them for free. And it was probably the Raiders. And if we remember too, they explain in the first beginning episodes that information is never free. So to get really good free information, something must be up. Gita keeps pestering Rudo, so he sits at some other tables. And the cloaked figures are like, hey man, what's up? And Rudo is like, man, I don't know, bandits or some shit. The cloaked figure is like, yeah man, those Raiders are looking for something. And if you don't keep your guard up, they'll snatch up everything you got. And they're looking for stuff like this. And then he whips out Amo's boots.
I also, like, Rudo walked away from his food after he was trying to protect his food, and then go sit somewhere else. And of course, he sits next to the people that are the worst situation to sit next to. So, great job.
Well, I mean, to be fair, there's only like...
There's 5 tables.
Five tables
bar.
there,
yeah.
And then the bar. There really isn't anywhere for him to go.
Yeah.
But the cloak figures decloak, and it's manhole cover girl and the Raider boss. And then the weather report says there's going to be a big storm out there. And then the cleaners go into action. But then they're all manholed to a different location with the supporters Gris, Folo, and Tomei left behind. They get teleported to what looks like to be some underground place. And the Raiders show themselves and they have a nice little square off. And Rudo asks what they did with Amo.
This was an aura farm shot, and it does go hard, though. I'm so fucking excited for the next few episodes.
So that's it. Episode 14. Gachiakuta.
I loved it. I quite enjoyed it. I appreciate the aura farm. I appreciate them getting ready to fight each other all the time. Greg, are you going to rewatch JJK? Because we're going to have the new season coming up.
No, I remember enough of it to where I can...
Wow, Greg, what the fuck?
Do you want to quiz me?
Yeah, I do.
Make sure they're like questions about the story, not like, what was this guy wearing when he decided to go 60 frames a second?
I think you're talking about Naobito?
Sure.
Is who you're talking about? Because another character has a similar power later on.
You could have just called him like Paper Mario, and I would have been like, yeah, sure.
Oh, yeah, I remember that guy. Yeah.
I just remember everyone had useless abilities. I have 60 frames per second man. I'm in an ocean now area.
He's dead.
Blood guy.
Choso.
Who's Yuji's brother.
Yes.
You have guy who gets his ponytail grabbed because he has the hand with a knife on it or something.
He's dead too.
Is he dead?
Both of the one who grabs the ponytail and that other character are both dead.
Yeah, I mean Nanami's dead, but the ponytail guy, I didn't think he died
dead.
Because
he gets cut in half by Sukuna when
Maharaga came, right? And then
no, afterward.
Maharaga was unleashed, and he was still there when that happened.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It is when Maharaga gets unleashed.
All right, so am I passing the quiz?
You're doing it. I'm so proud of you. That's so good. And the movie. I got to watch the movie, the new one.
But that is it for today. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to the Anime Book Club podcast. You can find us at theanimebookclub.com, or you can go to YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and look up the Anime Book Club podcast. Check us out on the Instagrams on what we are watching at the Anime Book Club podcast as well. And get some subs, some gamer subs at gamersubs.gg and use promo code DJ Montague at checkout for 10% off of your gamer subs order. And you can go to it-aesthetics.com and use tab C10 at checkout for 10% off, or tab C5 as a stacking coupon off of your order.
Mm-hmm. The moral of the story of this episode is, if you're going to aura farm, be true to yourself. Stand on business, as they say. Be the you that you are inside, your truest self. Believe in yourself. Believe it. That's what I got. Thank you so much, friends, for hanging out with us for the Anime Book Club podcast. You guys are wonderful. Greg is losing his self and his absurdity. As the nights continue, Greg's just like slowly deteriorating, and we appreciate that, Greg. Thank you for staying up with us. Fucking Saiga says, I wish DJ liked good anime. So this is the gatekeeping we're gatekeeping you guys from, just so you're aware at home.
Watch what you like, but then also branch out.
Yeah.
Because some of this stuff, like my gift level 9999 unlimited gotcha backdoored, back broken, back shotted or whatever. I don't know. I gave it a shot. It's not my thing, but you got to try it. But then you watch something like Wand Dance or Tales of Wedding Rings. Oh, that's another one that I really enjoyed. Like, if you do a little bit of searching, you will find these diamonds in the rough. I mean, you will find a lot of anime that you don't like, or you may not, feel like is the best, but that's all just part of the journey. And when you find one that you really like, you really like it because you have a lot of things to compare and contrast it to, and really figure out why you like that thing.
Yeah.
Probably if you asked like 13, 14-year-old us, we would be like, Dragon Ball Z's are the best. And you'll be like, well, why do you say that? And we'll be like, Goku powers up. And like, oh, it makes me want to be stronger. But now, as those are like valid reasons, there isn't really too much depth to what those reasons are. But as you watch more and more stuff, you're able to kind of articulate a little bit better why you like the things that you like, more than just like, it makes me feel good, which is, it can still make you feel good, but you'll be able to verbalize why it makes you feel good.
Right.
There's a lot of power in why. That's what I always try to like move people towards. Like, it's fine that you like something that I don't like, or I like something you don't like. I think the important thing is to explain why you do or do not like what that is. So you're able to have like an intellectual conversation with someone else about that same thing, and it not just be like, I like fucking Maureen, she's hot and she's my baby girl and fucking she my waifu.
Yeah, there you go. I was about to say, you're going to say she's my waifu yet? But also, this is the better moral of the story. Thank you, Greg, for picking up all the slack that I leave on the ground.
I'm going to cut all that. Like, the last like 20 minutes is getting cut.
No, it's great.
I'll just replace it with the intro so we can be edgy like all these animes.
Oh, we need to re-record the intro this week. Tomorrow,
I'll just delete it.
No, not this intro. I mean, like our normal.
Yeah. No, I'll just delete the show. How about that?
No, okay. No, let's not do that. I like this show. I'm having fun. And as we wrap up, Greg, it is time for us to say goodbye.
Oh, okay. Well, everybody, we will see you in the next one. Goodbye.
Nice. Thank you, friends, for checking out the Anime Book Club podcast. We hope you enjoyed the episode.
And if you don't want to miss the next one, follow us on the socials where we announce new episodes, content, and other cool stuff. You can also check out our anime list with our rankings and follow along with what we're currently watching and what we have watched in the past.
All the links are in the description. See you in the next one. Bye!